A very pleasant evening to you all, my dear participants. And in this session, we got two modifications. The first modification was that some participants expressed their opinion that this session be started at 6:30 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. because they would be taking some time to reach their houses after their offices. So we have rescheduled it to 6:30 p.m. And a second modification or alteration is that some participants wanted this GHG protocol in a very detailed and simple manner. They wanted it for direct practical applications, and they wanted it to be taken up as a clear and detailed course. So this request I felt was rational and important also. So accordingly, we have rescheduled this into 20 modules. GHG protocol alone is considered into 20 modules, and right from the basics, we are taking this up so that you can very clearly uh, understand these concepts of GHG. Thank you for your understanding and for taking up these two modifications. We'll start the session now. Hope my screen is visible to all. Is my screen visible to all? And my dear participants, this GHG protocol is divided into 20 modules. The fundamentals, climate change fundamentals, introduction to the GHG protocol standards, organizational boundaries, operational boundaries, greenhouse gas emission sources, activity data collection, emission factors, emission calculations, scope 1 emission accounting, scope 2 emission accounting, and scope 3 emission accounting, data quality and uncertainty management, base year selection and recalculation, GHG inventory reporting, verification, validation, and assurance, emission reduction and decarbonization strategies, digital tools and carbon accounting, industry case studies and applications, end-to-end GHG inventory practical workshop. So, not that we'll be taking one module completely into each session, but you'll division will be quickly taking this up and giving you a clear picture of how this GHG protocol functions and like that. Coming into this fundamentals, climate science fundamentals, the physical science and greenhouse gases driving global change. This is the module 1 with its core concepts. So basically looking into the difference between what is weather and climate is. We'll just mute. So proceeding further, weather is a temporary phenomena and the one which is taken into consideration over very short durations of time. Weather changes every day. Whereas climate is the one which changes over a few decades, typically over 3 decades, 30 years. So it is the long-term pattern of weather. Climate is a long-term pattern of weather, and this is over minimum of 30 years. An example cited here is a region, for example, averages 1,200 millimeters of rainfall annually. So this is calculated taking into consideration the average rainfall of all the 30 years. So that is the basic difference. Of course, everybody will be knowing this. And going into the climate of the earth, we have got 5 spheres: atmosphere, lithosphere, hydrosphere, cryosphere, and biosphere. These are the various spheres around which climate rotates or involves. So as we know, atmosphere consists of various layers, spheres again, and these are gases which surround our Earth. And hydrosphere is about water. It could be in the form of oceans, rivers, lakes, and groundwater even. Cryosphere is about the water which has gone into very low temperatures, such as in the form of glaciers, ice sheets, snow, sea ice, etc. And biosphere, and which is this is about living organisms, biological things, could be plants or animals, flora and fauna. And lithosphere is about earth, the land, rocks, and soil. And how all this came into existence at all, how this global warming concept actually evolved. So the turning point for all this was in the year 1750 approximately, where the global atmospheric chemistry was detailedly analyzed. See, the natural global warming is good. Global warming is a good aspect, because only because of presence of carbon dioxide and the atmospheric gases, our temperature is approximately of plus 15 degrees centigrade globally. If this atmosphere were not there, if this global warming were not there, then the temperatures would fall to very extremes of minus 100 degrees centigrade or so, and to about very high temperatures of plus 100 degrees or so, as it would be in the case of other planets or moon or so. But this extreme temperatures would not support life, and therefore this global warming is protecting us and giving life for flora and fauna on this earth. And these global temperatures were not the same always, they were changing. Natural phenomena also caused these changes. For example, you see volcanic eruptions. These have brought about huge uh, changes in climatic conditions. So too the temperatures and the earthquakes, they have altered the structure of the earth, and they have brought about huge differences in the climate even. Wind pressure and such forces also have brought about, they have got some influencing effect on the global climatic conditions. And these would happen naturally, nobody can stop them, and they have occurred over centuries or millions of years. They did not happen all of a sudden, and this was not so very dangerous for us at least. But after the industrial revolution, approximately in 1750 year, and until now, human activities or anthropogenic activities have rapidly contributed towards global carbon dioxide emissions. And these emissions were in the form of fossil fuel burnings, or say deforestation, cutting of trees, fossil fuel burnings for fuel for the industries, and in the form of vehicles. Prior to 1750, there were not much automobiles, fossil fuels were not there, burnt for transportation. But after this 1750, vehicles, fossil fuel vehicles came into place, and this have contributed towards global warming industries. So these kind of human activities, anthropogenic activities, have rapidly contributed towards greenhouse gas emissions, and these have accelerated global warming. And the physical evidence of this warming planet can be seen in the rise in temperatures to plus 1.12. Presently it is around 1.3 degrees centigrade above the pre-industrial era. And what are the impacts of this increase in the global averages? The impact is in the form of melting of water, sorry, ice to become water. So glaciers, poles, North Pole and South Poles, which have glaciers in them, have started melting due to this increase in temperatures, and this has caused a increase in the water levels, and the water mean sea levels have risen up, and this has also contributed towards differences in pH levels. And this was not just onto water, it was onto land. That is, the temperatures have increased, and the overall temperatures have risen above. And this has resulted in drought-like conditions, where the rise of the agricultural productivity has fallen down, And also this global warming has resulted in extreme events such as floods or droughts, or they recently seen super El Nino syndrome. So all these have contributed towards huge loss in terms of life as well as property to human inhabitants, and also for other forms of life as animals and plants. So this is very terrible. Taking the intensity of what is actually happening, there is an essential and urgent need to stop global warming. Rising sea levels are driven by melting ice sheets and the physical expansion of warming of the ocean waters. So we have seen that this greenhouse effect is essential for survival of life on Earth. But recently, the anthropogenic contribution of global warming has put us out of balance. And this is what is of concern. So earlier, the temperatures which were due to global warming was about plus 15 degrees centigrade. So this is the global average, and this is just the heat enough to keep the earth sustain life. But the human activities have thickened these gas layers, and more heat is trapped and less is escaping out from the planet. And this is what we call as the modern greenhouse effect or the modern global warming. Natural is good, the modern anthropogenic one is bad. So we see here in this slide how the atmospheric gases trap the solar heat. Solar radiations from the sun enter into the earth, and this is through radiation. We know three forms of heat transfer are there: conduction, convection, and radiation. So radiation is the mode of transfer of heat from sun to earth, and this heat is trapped inside. This warms the earth's surface. Once the Earth's surface is warmed, that is the land as well as the oceans, this heat is trapped here. It gets stored here. And after some time, that is during nights, for example, there will be a tendency for this heat to go out, because there should be equilibrium. Equilibrium is the law of nature. So accordingly, the Earth, which has trapped the heat, tries to release it in the form of long wave infrared radiation. But this would not go out because of the carbon dioxide, methane, and other greenhouse gases that are present in the atmosphere. So this would cause it to trap inside. It will not allow the heat to go out. So the heat during daytime is getting onto the earth. In nights, it is not allowed to escape. So more amount of heat is getting trapped inside day by day. Every day, the heat of the earth is increasing. And this trapping is what we call as global warming. And who is the agent? Who is the one who is doing it? It is the greenhouse gases, GHGs. 7 GHGs are there, and these are causing that effect. And we see the various greenhouse gases here in this slide. We have got, say, carbon dioxide, methane, NO2, HFCs, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons, sulfur hexafluoride, nitrogen fluoride, etc. These are the various gases which are causing this global warming. And we'll see the sources of it and the relative potency and atmospheric persistence of each of them. Carbon dioxide, it is due to fossil fuel burnings, and it is also due to deforestation. And the potency of this, how much of greenhouse gas impact it actually creates, we can say that it is medium. Greenhouse gas potential, GHG potential, it is medium. And persistence of this in the atmosphere, it is very long. It will stay in the atmosphere for more than hundreds of years. Coming to methane, the source of this is livestock and waste, especially domestic waste. And the livestock belching is one of the major causes of methane. And its potency is high because not all gases will be causing the same amount of greenhouse gas warming. We will speak of the potencies of each of it later in this the coming slides. And the atmospheric persistence of this is relatively shorter. methane will not live for long. Approximately for 15 years, it will stay in the atmosphere and then it would disintegrate. The next one, nitrous oxide. This is caused due to fertilizers applications and manufacturing and applications of chemicals in various forms. And its potency is high and atmospheric persistence is also very long. And the next gas, hydrofluorocarbons, it is emitted from refrigeration cooling units, both in households as well as in industrial applications, air conditioners. And its persistence, its potency is very high, and its atmospheric persistence is medium. Perfluorocarbons, this is generated from aluminum manufacturing industries, semiconductors, these contribute. And the potency of it is very high, and its persistence in the atmosphere is ultra long, very long. Sulfur hexafluoride, and this is caused, so emitted from high voltage equipment, electrical equipments, and potency is extremely maximum, and its atmospheric persistence is also very long. And nitrogen fluoride, NF3, we get this from electronic equipments, solar panels, and so. And the relative potency of this is extremely high, maximum, and its atmospheric persistence can be said to be medium. And we'll see the volume versus velocity, the drivers of widespread warming. See, carbon dioxide, as I was saying, will persist for about few hundreds of years, centuries together. Whereas the methane, which is emitted due to belching of livestock such as cattle, cows, sheep, and other chemicals, the persistence of this is about 12 years. So we can say that carbon dioxide is the most abundant human generated greenhouse, and this remains for centuries. And this is the largest contributor of global warming, anthropogenic global warming. Whereas methane, since it has got only 12 years of lifespan, the impact of it is also high. And once we can reduce this CH4, we can rapidly reduce greenhouse gas warming, global warming. So agriculture and industrial coolings, nitrous oxide, HFCs, and PFCs, we have seen that N2O has got more than 100 years of persistence. And HFCs, it is due to air conditioners, refrigerators, and heat pumps. We have seen this. Perfluorocarbons, it is extremely stable, so very dangerous. It stays for thousands of years. So imagine how dangerous it could be and why it should be taken care of very importantly. And the sources of this are aluminum smelting, semiconductors manufacturing. And now we come to this one, the potency multiplier. We have seen that though we have got 7 GHGs, greenhouse gases, not all of them will have the same potency for warming. That is, 1 unit of carbon dioxide emitted might cause 1 unit of global warming, and the same 1 unit of CFC might not be causing that same amount of global warming. Its impact is different. So this is what we call potency. Say NF3, nitrogen trifluoride, it is about 17,000 times more potent than carbon dioxide. 17,000 times. And this would stay for about 100 years. Whereas SF6, this is 25,000 times more potent. That is, if say 1 kg of carbon dioxide is emitted into the atmosphere, and if that would produce a global warming of 1 unit, for example, in 100 years. Take this as the baseline. Now, NF3, same 1 kg of NF3 emitted into the atmosphere, it will cause warming of units 17,000 times that of what carbon dioxide has caused. So that is what is meant by the potency of it. So each CFC has got, each GHG gas has got different potencies. We'll see them all. So we can't put all of them into one metric. So CFC has got a different potential, SF6 has got different potential, Carbon dioxide has got different potential, and they have got different lifespans, and they are differing wildly. So to make this all into one, to make this unified, we introduce a concept called carbon dioxide equivalent, CO2e, in the suffix small e. So carbon dioxide equivalent, we convert all the others into equivalents of carbon dioxide and take this as a standard metric. And this scientific baseline provides the foundation for GHG protocol. So coming to the next slides. We have seen that not all GHGs are equal. 1 kg of SF6 causes 1,000 times more warming of the globe than 1 kg of carbon dioxide. So this way, one unit won't work, one thing won't be commonly available to all, won't imply commonly to all. So we have taken this as carbon dioxide equivalent, CO2e. So why at all should we take this? A small example is given here. Suppose we got $1,000, 1,000 Indian rupees with us, 100 US dollars and 50 euros. We can't total them all to say that it's one thing like 1,150. We can't call this 1,150 euros or 1,150 rupees, right? We have to convert it to a common equivalent, and maybe we take it into, convert it all into US dollars, and we give the final result in terms of US dollars. This many US dollars is the equivalent of all these currencies of these amounts put together. Similarly, in the climate analogy also, it's the same. So methane, nitrous oxide, SFCs, we don't total this, all of this. 1 kg of CH4, 1 kg of NO2, 3 kgs of SF6. We don't put all this together and say it was 4 kg of global warming potential. No, we convert it. Conversion factor is taken, and that conversion is done, and we put all into one unit, which is carbon dioxide equivalent, CO2e, just for a small clear understanding. So here we put all CH4, CFC, NO2, and we get it into CO2e. This standard unit is used to express the climate impact of any greenhouse gas as the amount of carbon dioxide that would produce the exact same warming effect. So see here again, how much heat a gas traps in the atmosphere over 100 years compared with carbon dioxide. This we call as global warming potential. Say carbon dioxide, 1 unit. Methane, 28 units of global warming potential compared with carbon dioxide as the baseline. Nitrous oxide, baseline is CO2, and the NO2's potential is 265 times. So how do we actually do this? Say a landfill releases 1,000 kg of methane. Sorry, 100 kg of methane. So 100 kg of methane will be equal to 100 into 28 times, because its potential is 28 times that of carbon dioxide's potential. So that would give us 2,800 kg of carbon dioxide equivalents. Although only 100 kg of methane was emitted, its actual warming potential is equal to 2,800 kg of carbon dioxide. That is, if 2,800 kg of carbon dioxide was emitted, that would have been the equivalent of just 100 kg of methane which was emitted here. That is what it means. So here we go like this. The global climate action using carbon dioxide equivalent facilitates organizations and governments to compare different gases to fairly use just one unit. After conversions, we can add emissions together for getting the total organizational footprint. And once this is done, we can compare the footprints across various companies and factories or even countries. And once the baseline metrics are clearly measured, we can track the emission reductions accurately, because Only what is known can be mitigated. So we can track these emissions accurately. And then we can set standards. Targets can be set for either carbon neutrality or for net zero. And then we can go for reporting for either GHG protocols or ISO 14064. Two methods are available. We can do for any of them. So for all these, the foundation is conversion into carbon dioxide equivalents. So carbon dioxide equivalent and global warming potential are the universal standards. But now who determines these complex sciences and multiplier values? Here comes into picture IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. So this is the world's leading scientific body for assessing climate change. And this was established in the year 1988. It is headquartered in Geneva. And this was founded by World Meteorological Organization and United Nations Environmental Program, WMO, and UNEP. These were the founders of IPCC. And the mission of this is to provide governments with objective, scientific, and reliable assessments of climate change. So this IPCC is a curator, that is, it puts everything into one place. It has not done any direct major experimentation. No direct research work was done by or is being done by IPCC. It only curates the content. That is, various scientists from various parts of the globe do experiments, and such authentic experimentation and experimental outputs are taken together, put in one place, and various scientists again in IPCC work together to evaluate those and compare those and get to an unbiased consensus on climate science. So the IPCC doesn't conduct actual experimentation, but it collects experimentation from various organizations or from scientists or from institutions. And these experimentational outputs are put into one place. Their authenticity is verified, and then it is a consensus is reached, a common opinion is reached on climate science. This is the work of IPCC. So IPCC does not conduct original laboratory experiments, field studies, or climate monitoring. It only curates, it only gets information and puts it into one place. So this is considered to be the gold standard of climate science. And the primary output of this IPCC is the assessment report. Based on all the information that it has collected, it gets an assessment report, and every 6 to 8 years once this assessment report is published. And this each report is based on thousands of scientific studies. It is meticulously reviewed by experts and governments from around the world, and it is published. So IPCC assessment report, we call this. So what is there inside it? Inside an assessment report, there is a scientific basis of how the climate system works, the evidence of warming, and future projections. Scientific basis of all this is present. And the impacts of this global warming is also made available. So the impacts on people, on agriculture, on oceans, economics, and infrastructure is clearly mentioned, both qualitatively as well as quantitatively. Quantitative scores are given to each of these, and those scores are published. And once these are known, the next part will be to mitigate it. The various strategies such as renewable energy conversions, emission reductions using carbon capture technologies are done. So mitigation assessments is also given in this assessment report. Strategies are also given. And adaptation options, adjusting to unavoidable current and future impacts to improve resilience. Because once this wheel has got set into motion, it's not that easy to mitigate it. It can be done, but strategically and stage wise this can be done. And in the meantime we need to adapt ourselves. So the unavoidable impacts, uh, we can only adapt ourselves, we can only protect ourselves and save ourselves from these impacts. How exactly is that done is also presented in this assessment report. So as we see, the two paths for climate change will be, climate action will be mitigation and adaptation. Mitigation means reducing the cause of it. So reducing greenhouse gas emissions or removing carbon from the atmosphere. This should be done in mitigation. So how do we do this? Using renewable energy, electric vehicles, or reforestation. These methods are adopted, not just this various things. And now, how do we adapt ourselves? That is, how do we live with these effects, adjusting to current and future climate impacts? Flood resistant infrastructure, drought resistant crops, early warning systems. So these measures can be taken. That is flood resistant infrastructure in the sense buildings and infrastructure such as bridges and dams and railways, roadways, transportation, everything in huge constructions, skyscrapers, whatever it is, they should be flood resistant. That is, a flood is inevitable, but this structure should be designed in such a way that this structure can stand the floods and still stand still. And drought resistant crops, drought is inevitable, and make and we bioengineer crops in such a way that they can stand the drought conditions. That is, they can retain water more, or they can live long even in the absence of enough quantities of water availability to them. So that way crops can still survive, crops can give their yield and output even under drought conditions. So that bioengineering of that is another example for adaptation. Early warning systems, that is, these extreme events can be and should be predicted, and that is also an example of how adaptation can be done. So now if we see the climate accounting ecosystems, we got the authority, that is IPCC is the authority because it evaluates global climate science, taking into account researchers from various parts of the world. Thousands of literature is collected and that is put into one place. A consensus is reached, and so this becomes the authority here. IPCC is the authority. And what is the tool that we use? It is the GWP, Global Warming Potential Values. And for each activity that is done, there is a global warming potential conversion unit. And these conversion factors we call as the tools. And these allow us to calculate the action into GWP. Electricity that we consume, that's the action, and that work is converted into the equivalent of GWP, global warming potential. Say we travel from one place to other, from Hyderabad to say Ahmedabad, we travel say using on a car. So the activity that was done there should be having one equivalent of GWP. How much of global warming potential has this cost? So that tool is conversion factor. If you go by air travel, what is its impact? So the global warming potential values or conversion factors are given by this IPCC, and this is the tool. And the standards, carbon dioxide equivalent, the universal metric used by the GHG Protocol and global governments. So CO2e, carbon dioxide equivalent, this is the standard. So, concluding, the key takeaways from our presentation today are that carbon dioxide equivalent translates all greenhouse gases into one common currency of warming impact. So, global warming potential, this is the official multiplier used to make that translation accurate. because we have seen that each gas has got different amounts of potential. So this is the multiplier factor, and IPCC is the global referee. This evaluates, this doesn't conduct experiments, where rather it evaluates and uses a science to guide global policy. The IPCC's assessment reports provide GWP, global warming potential numbers, that make corporate carbon reporting possible. So reporting can be done in a standard format. So this is possible because we have got the global warming potential, and all this was facilitated by IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. So this is the significance of IPCC. So with this, I come to the end of today's presentation. I now thank you all for attending this session, and I now open this session for discussions or clarifications. I request you all to give your opinions or views on probably say how or revised protocol of going from the basics and dividing our GWP itself into 20 modules and giving a clear and detailed explanation. Would this be of use to all of you? Because some were of the opinion that this was required, and we are giving this to all. So please give me your reviews and your opinions, feedback or clarifications or anything. Okay. So in the absence of feedbacks or opinions, we'll close this session here. Thank you all. Thank you all for attending this session. We'll meet in the next session.